So in today's video I thought we would do a pick on this fella. So this is an Assa Twin V10. It's the Assa Twin V10 mogul. So the mogul is just refers to this massive great hunk of metal that is the mortise cylinder. If I compare it to this Medico, which is a sort of standard size if you like, you can see it's an absolute beast. The actual plugs and pins and everything are pretty much the same as you'd expect from other Assa Twins. It's just this body that's massive. As far as I know, I think these are used in the prison system. Correct me if I'm wrong in the comments. So perhaps that's why it needs to be so chunky. I don't know. So what have we got inside? I'll show you the key there. So it's an Assa Twin. So we've got twin lock-in mechanisms. So up top we have got the barrel pins, and they come with some nice milling. And those barrel pins really catch in that milling, and it's like picking serrated pins. You've got to slowly sort of push them up to get them to set to the shear line. And then we've got some side pins on this one, which also need to be raised up in order that a side bar, which sits, I think it sits on that side, can retract in. And I think those side pins also have false gates, so they act like serrated pins. We've got to nudge those up as well. I actually got this one a while ago, and I'm going to link to a video. Actually, have a look in the description once you've watched this video, because when I received this lock, it was actually in pieces. It was putting together a jigsaw. In fact, I'll put a screenshot up now. You can see exactly what this lock looked like when I first took it out of the packaging. From the chap that I bought it from. So it was a bit of a jigsaw puzzle. I did a jigsaw sort of a video of that jigsaw putting it together. And I did manage to pick it after that, but I never got around to putting it on video. So I thought I'd grab it today and we can get this one on video. So anyway, let's get him in the vise and see if we can get him picked. So I've got them all secured in the vise to give you a good view, and there's the key, and as you can see, it's working as it should. To pick this one today, I'm going to use two different hooks. I've got a kind of swoop-in shallow hook, which is a great profile to get into a lot of locks actually. This keyway has got a little bit of warding on the bottom right hand side, and I'm going to use that to lever off to do all of the picking. You can't pick from the bottom of the keyway with this, certainly not with these picks that are 20 thousandths. And the other hook I'm using is a medium hook. So up top in this lock we have got the Assa barrel drivers. Lots of fun to pick these ones, and I find in this lock in particular they're quite difficult to read. Quite often they give you very positive clicks, they're very talkative, but I find with this particular lock that you set binding pins initially and then they go quiet, and it's not until you've almost got them picked that they kind of start speaking again. And you can start hearing those clicks again. I'll put a picture of one of the barrel pins up on screen so you can see exactly what it looks like. You'll notice at the bottom of the pin and also at the top, because they're double-ended essentially, is a very sharp lip, and that part there bites into serrations that are in the core. And what it means is that as I'm putting counterclockwise tension on this lock trying to pick it, you've got to have quite light tension, otherwise those lips bite into the serrations or counter milling that's in the plug, and it becomes very difficult to lift the pins and to set them. I'll put on screen now just a shot of the plug. And you can see the chambers in the plug, and you should be able to see several sort of serrations around the top, and that's what's called the Assa countermilling that interacts with these barrels so well. You'll notice that as I'm picking this lock, I'm changing picks quite often, and that's because this particular lock, the bitting, you've got a lot of highs and a lot of lows. I've got two high pins on pins 1 and 2 as indicated here. Pin 3 is quite low, and straight after pin 3 we've got a high set on pin 4. So I need a deeper hook to get to that pin 4. If I use the shorter hook to try and set pin 4, I'm going to overset 3. And then pins 5 and 6 are quite low set, which is fortunate. So to set those pins, I'm using the shallow kind of swoopy hook. If I try and reach for those pins and lever too hard with a deeper hook, I'm going to end up oversetting them. So I'm slowly pushing these barrels up and out the milling, up towards the shear line. Fortunately for me with this lock, the barrel pins and the side pins do separate, so all I need to do is pick the top pins and then hopefully I can go on to picking those side pins. What I'm feeling for now, the lock's gone quite quiet. I'm just hoping for a tiny little bit of movement on the core. You can barely see it, it's more something you feel through your tension wrench, and that tells me that the bottom lips of those barrels are coming up through that milling. And I just felt a tiny little movement then, so that tells me I'm on the right track. And from this point on, the lock starts to become a lot more talkative. It's very important at this stage to keep very light tension in order to nudge the lips of those barrels up out the milling one at a time. You've got to have really, really light tension, otherwise you won't get any movement at all. Got a few nice clicks now. I'm going to reach for my dimple pick, and I'm just going to feel for those side pins. As soon as I feel them bind in, then I know that I've probably got all of the driver pins picked, and I can start working on the side pins and dealing with the sidebar. I got a tiny click out of one of the back pins, but nothing else appears to be binding, so it may be that I'm close to dealing with these side pins, but it might be best to grab the hook and just go back to those barrels. Quite likely there's going to be 1 or 2 barrels that are almost through the milling. They're just holding them up, and I just need to nudge them up so that sidebar starts to bind properly. Alright, so we're going to grab the flag again and test those side pins. I think what I'll do is I'll put one of the side pins up on the screen so you can get a better idea of what it is I'm feeling for when I pick these. So there's several serrations. I don't know if they're false gates or serrations. If you know better, let me know in the comments. I guess they're false gates because you've got some of them are above the true gate and some of them are below the true gate. The true gate is the very deep cut that you can see there on the left of the pin. And once the sidebar goes into that pin, then that pin is set and we're closer to getting the lock open. With this particular lock, you have got 5 side pins. Now, each of those pins are exactly the same. The position of the gate, the true gate on those pins is exactly the same. What determines how high or low you've got to lift them is the sidebar. So the bitting for those finger pins, sorry, not finger pins, they're side pins, for those side pins determined by the sidebar. So you've got high cuts and low cuts on the sidebar. I'll put a picture of the sidebar up on screen so you can see there are 5 kind of recesses, and that's what the side pins sit in. Within those recesses there's like a sort of little fence that sticks out. And when those fences line up with the true gates on the side pins, then it will open up. So although I felt a few of these side pins bind up, they're not fully binding. So I think I've probably still got 1 barrel, maybe 2, that are sort of not quite set. So I'm going to go super light on the tension and just give each of those pins Just a little push up to see if I can find which pin is holding us back. Even with super light tension, these barrel pins really grip well in this lock. I just felt a little tiny click there, so I'm going to go back in with my dimple flag and we'll start feeling these side pins and seeing if they're binding. We're getting some good clicks off of these side pins now, so I'm pretty confident that all of the barrels are set, and we just need to keep tapping away on these side pins until we get it open. Got a nice bit of movement just then, so I really think we're only a few clicks off and we should get this open. And there we go, we got it open. So it's a bit of work to get that done. I've got this picked a couple of times previously, but never managed to do them on camera, so nice to get that done. So what we'll do is lock him back up. You see it's open there. And then we can see what's inside. So my pinning tray that I normally use is up there, and it's got bits of a challenge lock on it, so I'm going to use this beautiful wooden pinning tray to see what's inside. So first things is we'll take this tab off the back. Don't need a shim with this one, but we will need a follower. So if we turn him to about there, we should be able to slide that core straight out. I'm just going to use my thumb there to hold the sidebar in, because that will spring out. You can see him just there. We've got two tiny little springs underneath that sidebar, which are so easy to lose. I think with these twins and combis and that sort of thing, I can just see all the pins in there for the sidebar. They're currently being held in by the key, so I think what I'll do is I'll dump out all of these key pins, and then I can release the key and release those pins. Just lost the first two key pins. And now as I take that key out, these are going to want to spring straight out, so I'm going to put my finger over them, remove the key, and you can see, yeah, all of those side pins there. That's just the front of the lock coming off. So all of these side pins are exactly the same. I'll show you just the pin quickly there. They're all the same, and the bitting is obviously in the sidebar, as I said earlier. I just lost one of those springs, and they're all the springs that sit underneath. I'm going to dump all of those out. They can all sit in there. And up top there, you can just see, if I grab a hook, we can see the milling there in the top of the plug, and the pick tip just catching on that. And that's what those barrels grab onto so tightly. So now we'll have a look up top. So we just got all barrels up the top. First one there. Second one there. So all the barrels are the same. They're slightly different heights, which correspond to the heights of the cuts on the key pin. So if you've got a short key pin there, we've got a long barrel pin. And where you've got a long key pin, you'll have a short barrel pin. That one just there, where is he, number 4, and then we'll go to the back of the lock. Pin number 6 there. And pin number 5. I think all the springs in this one are exactly the same. So we'll just give them a quick shake out, make sure they don't disappear anywhere. I think that's all of the springs. There we go, you can just see the sidebar there. That's what it locks into on the side of the lock body. And if I just arrange these pins quickly, I can give you a close-up. These springs like to lock together, real pain in the arse to untangle. But yeah, give them a little turn, give them a little twist, and they do tend to undo themselves. So yeah, so we've got the 6 barrels up top, 6 standard key pins, and as I say, they're all balanced. So we've got a longer key pin there with a shorter barrel, a short key pin there with a longer barrel, and then we've got the side pins there. Each side pin is exactly the same. The bitting is on the sidebar, and I'll just show you that sidebar there. And if it focuses, you should be able to see the little cuts in the sidebar. That cut in the middle is quite high, that one's quite low, that one's quite low. But yeah, they bite in really well. You can see the true gate, which is the darker one in the middle of this pin. And yeah, they really bite in quite well to that sidebar. Anyway, fun to get that lock picked, and yeah, really it's good to get it picked on camera as well, because it has been camera shy up until this point. Anyway, that is the Assa Twin V10 in the mogul body. Lovely lock. Anyway, thanks for watching, and I'll see you on the next one.